What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Zach Guiser, and this is another entry into the Athlete Development Journal where we talk about developing speed, strength, power, health, and character so athletes get the most out of their athletic career.
Yeah, straight A student, but I'm friends with the cool kids. Following the rules and the rubric. Freestyle on the bus.
Sometimes the work just needs doing. I've got a text exchange between me and one of my athletes who's an extremely hard worker. She texted me, "Hey, do you have any suggestions on how I can do my 2 field days this week with how the weather has been?" My response, yes. Warm clothes and an extensive warm up. In case you're wondering, yes, she did the work. Speed is a strange mix of rhythm, patience, timing, fluidity, and, violent aggressiveness. With such a complex interplay of qualities needed, there's inevitably a complex interplay of systems operating behind the scenes. Yes, sprinting is the best training tool to get better at sprinting. There's no way around that. Playing your sport is the best way to get more game-specific speed. There's no way around that. But when you're operating with a few subpar subcomponents or whole systems, they're going to continue to stay subpar if you only train the skill as a whole. If you raise the individual competency of each subsystem, then your overall speed performance potential will rise as well. The two main systems we're dealing with here are your musculoskeletal system and your nervous system. Underneath your musculoskeletal system, we have contractile tissue, which are muscles, elastic tissue, which are tendons and fascia, and structural support tissue, which are bones and ligaments. Underneath your nervous system, we have three categories. We have your sensory input structures. Okay, this is going to get very mumbo jumbo-y. This is going to be a lot of words. You're probably not going to remember all of this, and that's okay. Okay, sensory input structures. We have your vestibular apparatus plus your vestibulospinal tracts plus your vestibular nuclei. So that's your vestibular system. You have your proprioceptors and spinocerebellar tracts. That's your proprioception. You have your eyes and optic nerve plus the primary visual cortex, which is located in your occipital lobe. That's your visual system. The second category we have there are your processing and control structures. These are mainly your cerebellum and your basal ganglia. The third category we have here are your motor output structures. So corticospinal tracts plus your primary motor cortex, which is located in your frontal lobe, your reticulospinal tracts plus your reticular formation, which is in your brainstem, and your peripheral motor neurons. Okay, breaking down each one of these just a little bit, bear with me here. I'm going to keep these surface level. Your sensory input structures are your first categories. That means these are the things that sense what's going on in your environment. So you have your vestibular system, your proprioceptive system, and your visual system. Those are the three things that are sensing, hey, what's going on? They're taking in everything from the environment. Then you have the processing and control structures. Everything is then sent to the cerebellum or the basal ganglia, and it's saying, okay, what exactly is going on here? It's interpreting it, it's fine-tuning the movements that we need to do, and it's sending it back out via the motor output structures. So that's going to be the corticospinal tracts and the primary motor cortex, which are going to be the things that you are volitionally controlling, things that you're intentionally doing, things that are taking some conscious thought. Then you have your reticulospinal tracts plus your reticular formation, which these are going to be things that are happening a little bit more at the automatic rhythmic level. And lastly, you have your peripheral motor neurons, which are part of those motor output structures, which actually attach to those muscles and give you the ability to produce the movements. Okay, so some of these are highly trainable, like muscles and the vestibular function, and some of these are barely trainable, like bones and ligaments. Most, though, are somewhere in between. If one of those systems is operating a few notches below the others, then that system is going to serve as a governor and single-handedly limit your performance potential. Or if you do happen to override that governor, you're going to put yourself at an injury risk. If you sprain your ankle, your proprioceptors get damaged. If your proprioception is poor, the cerebellum, which is responsible for planning, coordinating, and processing movement, will purposely inhibit the motor cortex to limit speed and protect the joint. So, to ensure you've got a well-rounded speed development process, you should do these 9 things. Number 1, develop muscle architecture with weight room movements. Number 2, build tendon and fascia stiffness with heavy, slow strength training, rhythmic movements, and plyos. Number 3, spin and roll a lot to challenge your vestibular system. Number 4, close your eyes and do things like rhythmic stabilizations to improve your proprioception. Number 5, react to visual cues to fine-tune your visual pathways. Number 6, do novel movements like a lot of skip variations to bolster your cerebellar control. Number 7, sprint with maximal intent and navigate complex environments to drive high threshold output from your motor cortex. Number 8, practice floating, which can be defined as running fast while staying really relaxed to reinforce automatic rhythmic drive of your brainstem. And number 9, when you're ready, flirt with contrast or overspeed training to get your motor neurons to fire at a faster rate. Don't do that one right away. Don't jump straight into overspeed training. Now, I do have a side note for any of you super nerds who are out there and recognize that the categorization I used isn't perfect. I already know that. For example, histological tendon stiffness isn't likely to be increased by plyos, just heavy, slow strength training seems to do that. But functional stiffness definitely is. So, is that a tendon adaptation? Is it a muscle adaptation to better anchor the tendon? A nervous system adaptation with better timing control? The answer is yes to all of those. And I want to leave you with a thought-provoking comment from Mark Twain. Now, I'm not advocating for contrarianism, but I do think Mark Twain gave some sage advice when he said, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Being excellent requires taking exceptional measures, which, by definition, are not the actions of the majority. All right, now let's wrap it up with a few important things. Number 1, this newsletter and podcast is completely free. I spend many hours each week researching, writing, illustrating, recording, editing, and uploading. The best way you can support it and allow it to continue is to just share it with other people. So send this via YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Share it, subscribe, review, comment, whatever you can do on that, please. Number 2, everything in these newsletters, podcasts, social media, and on our website is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice for you or your athlete. Please consult directly with a healthcare professional. Thank you so much for your help in spreading the word about athlete development. And until next time, go be great out there.
Yeah, straight A student, but I'm friends with the cool kids. Following the rules and the rubric. Freestyle on the bus and it's too lit.